Now, if you've never played Super Mario Land 1, the Game Boy game, what you need to understand is that it's kind of bad. It only has 4 worlds of 3 levels each, far less than even the original Mario Bros. The levels also occasionally do this weird thing where the same terrain will repeat itself. I'm not talking about like a variation on past terrain or using the same obstacle twice in a row. It's more like there are specific sections which are carved out and pasted at a couple different points. It doesn't happen super often. The only reason it can be disorienting is if you die a couple times and have to go through the same repeated obstacles a bunch. They are repeated though, it's not just because I'm dying. A bigger problem is that the speed of gravity when you fall off a platform and when you fall after a jump is drastically different. If you step 1 foot off a ledge, Mario will plummet like a rock. This is a bug they had solved for Mario 1, and I'm pretty sure they also got it right in the original Donkey Kong. But there's fall damage, so it's kinda hard to tell anyway in that one. And also, for some reason, enemies have their own completely unique gravity? Overall, the physics for the entire game feel just a little bit unpolished. Likewise, the scale can also feel a little odd. The sprite work for everything is very tiny, definitely so the developers could fit as much as possible onto the screen at once. I think it works pretty alright on handheld devices. I don't own a Game Boy, but the art is a nice fit for my 3DS. If you ever try to play it on a bigger screen though, I think it can feel just a little weird, like everything is a miniaturized version of what it should be. Mario's mustache looks like it's missing a few pixels when he's in small form, for instance. Mario Land would go on to receive a much superior sequel in 1992, with Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. The most obvious improvement being the graphics. The sprite work for characters, items, and interactables is much more detailed, and environments more unique and varied. The gameplay is also a lot smoother. Mario feels better to control and there are more specialized mechanics, such as in the literal 3rd level of the game, which features this tree set mechanic where your movement is different while you're inside of it. I'm pretty sure this one tiny obstacle is more programmatically impressive than the entirety of Mario Land 1. And I'm not even going to get into Donkey Kong 94, which might be literally the best Game Boy game, and I think if it was released by an indie developer today, you'd see people absolutely fawning over it. Despite the existence of these two vastly superior sequels, I just can't help but like Mario Land 1 more. There's something so quaint about it. Even though the core gameplay isn't hyper polished, it still manages to deliver that classic Mario charm, and being so short makes it very easy to pick up and play. The environmental design is also really bizarre for a Mario game. Like, they weren't even trying to follow the style guide of this Egyptian theme that transitions into actual Moai heads. Probably because the style guide didn't exist yet, but it's still weird in an oddly appealing way. In no other game do you witness Mario fight real, actual children. Except that one, I guess. Oh, and that one. This trend is worrying. In fairness to Mario Land, although the physics feel a little off, all of the levels were seemingly designed with them in mind. Jumps usually aren't super tight, and platforms usually have at least 2 blocks for you to land on. It sometimes even takes advantage of Mario's incredibly quick falling gravity. Mario is also really fast when holding down the run button. It's possible to completely zoom through these stages if you know what you're doing. And even though it doesn't feature nearly as many stages as the first Mario Bros, each one tends to introduce something completely new, and a lot of stages actually get entirely unique environmental art just for themselves. This includes a classic Game Boy maneuver, random flying shoot-'em-up stages. 2 of the boss stages feature Mario in a ship, shooting at obstacles in his path. Honestly, I'm not super into these levels. They are pretty basic shooting sections, but they're alright and I appreciate the variety. The real surprising thing is that the entire game ends on one of these stages, instead of classic platforming. I guess the Tonga was such an extinction level threat that Mario knew bullets were the only solution. Damn. By the way, shout out to this cool screen shake into dissolve effect after the boss fight. Pretty neat. There are also a couple of little quirks here which I'm pretty sure are solely because of technical limitations. Like, instead of being able to kick Koopa shells, they instead explode after you jump on them. You have to be quick to avoid the blast. I honestly don't mind this change to Koopas. They're still more dangerous than Goombas are, and the explosion honestly is more of an obstacle than the potential of a shell coming back at you. Similarly, they swapped out the fireball for a bouncy ball power-up. In this case, it feels mostly like a direct downgrade though. A good chunk of levels have ceilings, so it is possible to get some bouncing action in, but they mainly make use of it in bonus rooms, which is kind of underwhelming. I would have much preferred to keep fire flowers, but it did eventually make for a fun Mario Maker tool. We gotta talk about the music for a second. Oh, the music. I would say this may be the one category where Land 1 actually beats the second as far as quality goes. I mean, just listen to this. This track just has this going home from school on a Friday vibe to it, which is absolutely lovely. Overall, Mario Land has a really nice aesthetic going on. It's a game which you can turn on and play for 20 minutes when you don't have anything else going on in your life. In a way, this is actually one of the most inspirational Mario games to me. It's not my favorite by any means. It probably doesn't even crack the top 20, but I do find it inspirational. Most Mario games have teams of dozens, if not hundreds of people working on them to create an exceptionally polished experience. And the older ones, which didn't have such large teams, you put on a pedestal for the historical significance to the medium. Except for this tiny Game Boy game, which is this rough little pebble in this gigantic ocean of a franchise. This game, which has 2 different speeds of gravity, which is not as advanced as what came after, yet stumbled in ways the games before it didn't, was once the representative for all of Mario. It's the Mario which I feel like I would actually be capable of developing all by myself, which can't really be said for Mario or really most games. I just figured that if at one point in time this was good enough for super 800 million copies sold Mario, then that's the minimum bar I should try to hit. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're wondering where I've been and why the Bug Hunter video has been aging so poorly, it's because I've been developing a game. And if you didn't know, that takes a lot of energy. I'm hoping to improve the upload schedule on this channel by doing more of these low-stakes analysis videos, where I just kind of yap about a game without overthinking the script or coming up with some sort of grand thesis statement. I hate thesis statements. Hopefully the next video will be soon, but I really can't tell you when. I owe a couple of indie games reviews at this point. In the meantime though, I've been uploading clips of my livestream over on my side channel. These are more reminiscent of old gameplay videos I used to do. I also did an end-of-year celebration stream called Jacklades 2025, where I went over my game of the year and some of the best moments of last year. It's weird but also sick as hell. Alright, bye!